Imagine, if you will, the absolute silence of the void before the first spark ignites the chaos. It starts not with a whisper, but with a violent tear in the fabric of nothingness, pulling consciousness from the dark. This is the beginning of the curse we call existence, a sudden and terrifying arrival into a cold, unfeeling universe that was sleeping so soundly before we disturbed it. The first breath is a trauma, a stinging assault of oxygen flooding lungs that have never known air. The infant screams not out of joy, but out of the sheer shock of separation from the warmth, thrust into a world of sharp edges and blinding lights. It is a primal realization that safety is an illusion, and that struggle is the only constant companion we will ever truly know. As the creature grows, the shadows begin to lengthen, taking on shapes that hide just beyond the periphery of vision. Childhood is not the age of innocence, it is the age of vulnerability, where giants walk the earth and monsters truly do live beneath the bed. We learn to fear the dark early on because deep down, we remember that we came from it and that it is waiting to reclaim us. Then comes the turbulent storm of youth, where the body morphs and twists in ways that feel alien and grotesque. The mind becomes a labyrinth of anxieties, a constant buzzing of questions that have no answers, isolating the soul in a crowded room. We look in the mirror and see a stranger staring back, a mask of flesh that hides the screaming consciousness trapped underneath. We step into the fog of adulthood, burdened by the heavy chains of expectation and the terrifying freedom of choice. Every path we take is a gamble, a step into the unknown where one wrong turn could lead to absolute ruin. We walk blindly through the mist, haunted by the ghosts of the lives we could have lived, wondering if we have already made the fatal mistake. The grind begins to wear down the spirit, a relentless machinery of routine that chews up dreams and spits out gray conformity. We become cogs in a dark engine, repeating the same motions day after day until the days bleed into a singular, colorless blur. The horror here is not a monster, but the slow, creeping realization that we are losing our grip on who we are. Isolation sets in, even when we are surrounded by the warmth of others, for no one can truly hear the thoughts echoing in your skull. We build walls to protect ourselves, but those walls eventually become a prison cell from which there is no escape. We sit in silence, listening to the clock tick, measuring the vanishing moments of a life that is slipping through our fingers like sand. Vessel begins to rot from the inside, a slow betrayal of the very cells that once promised vitality and strength. The skin sags, the bones ache, and the eyes dim as the physical form crumbles under the weight of time. It is a grotesque transformation, watching oneself decay while the mind remains frantically aware of the inevitable collapse approaching. We start to lose those around us, watching them vanish into the abyss one by one, leaving behind holes in reality that can never be filled. Grief becomes a specter that follows us, a cold hand on the shoulder that reminds us that everything we love is temporary. The graveyard is not a place of peace, but a library of stories that were cut short, silenced by the indifferent earth. The twilight years arrive, where memory blurs with nightmare, and the line between the past and the present dissolves completely. We sit in the gathering gloom, trying to piece together the fragments of a life that feels like it belonged to someone else. The shadows in the corner of the room grow bolder now, waiting for the light to flicker and fail for the final time. Then comes the moment of the final breath, the rattling gasp where the biological machine finally seizes and halts. The terror of the unknown rushes in as the senses detach, and the world we built so carefully dissolves into absolute black. It is the end of the movie, the screen cutting to black, leaving only the profound and heavy silence of the aftermath. But the horror is not that it ends, but that the cycle feeds on itself, indifferent to the individual tragedy. The earth claims the body, and from that decay, new life springs forth, oblivious to the suffering that fueled its creation. We are merely fuel for the fire, a brief flicker of consciousness in an eternal, shadowy dance of creation and destruction.